Quick shout out to my patrons. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Today, I'm just going to quickly go through what I plan on starting this next week reading. And then at the end of the week, I will talk about what I'm ending the week reading. So today, I started the immersion reading with The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodore Goss. I am buddy reading this with Bridget at Andrew's Wizardly Reads Discord, and this, I'm only 2 chapters in, but this is really interesting. The premise grabbed me right away. So essentially we have these daughters of all of these monsters, legendary literary monsters. We have Mary Jekyll, who's obviously the daughter of Dr. Jekyll. We have Diana Hyde, who's the daughter of Mr. Hyde, and then Beatrice Rappaccini, Catherine Moreau, and Justine Frankenstein. If you've read classical literature, you probably know these last names, at least some of them. And they go to Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson to help with this elusive clue that Mary has gotten about Mr. Hyde. And this is essentially told in, we're getting it, I believe is Catherine Moreau is writing this story, and we get like these interjections of the characters, almost like you hear a writer talking about books and writing their books and they say the characters speak to them, but here you see it on the page where they actually interject and they talk, and I think that's such a cool idea. On top of that idea of these women from legendary monsters, and now I'm rambling, so I'm going to stop there. What else am I reading this weekend? First Writer's Call, still by Christian Britton. This is still book 2 in the Green Rider series. I'm still very early, but so far I am enjoying I enjoyed Green Rider more, but I have a feeling we're just getting to the good stuff, so we'll see. I'm hoping to finish the Ember Blade this weekend. We'll see if I can actually do it, but it's time to put this one down to bed. It's time to finish this because I've been reading this since January, and it's time. I'm also listening to the audiobook for my next secret project book. I am also reading Waking Ursa Minor and maybe some Anathem, but this weekend. So that's what I'm reading this weekend. This was a big, long, rambly mess. I will edit it out, and hopefully it sounds a little bit more coherent than it did before. I got some reading in this morning, and I'll get lots of reading in today because I'm just going to stay at home and read and edit some videos. So I'll go and edit some videos after I finish this little check-in. But this month we had 2 Joan Didion essays because they were really short. The first one was called California Dreaming. And she kind of Joan Didion wrote about some of the like game changers in California in I think this was the 70s, 60s, and this kind of felt like a boys club, man's club. There was mostly men, mostly very conservative, Republican, white, and they were just trying to essentially, it felt like this was kind of the start of what we now see a lot of the Republican Party. People trying to make things unequal for others depending on their race, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, that kind of stuff. It was interesting to see a kind of a little glimpse of this and how much of just a kind of a club it is instead of, you know, an actual organization with people actually trying to do stuff. The next essay that we read was Marrying Absurd, and this was all about Las Vegas weddings. This was a very short, 3 pages long, and it was fun. It wasn't anything earth-shattering, anything amazing, but I felt like Joan Didion captured the spirit of Las Vegas weddings very well. She even talks about how at the end she writes about how she's sitting next to a couple that just got married in Vegas, and the bride is younger than 18 and had to have her parents there, and she's pregnant, and the father is talking to the groom just like any dad would back then, saying, you know, now you got to take care of her, you know, here, have a drink because you're gonna need it now, you know, those kinds of quippings that I am actually kind of used to in my family. So that's what I've gotten up to this morning. I've read further in the Ember Blade and First Writer's Call. I'm really hoping to finish the Ember Blade this weekend, so I'm going to get back to that after I edit these videos, and I'll check in with y'all again soon. Hey y'all, so I got some book mail to share, and I've got an reading update for y'all. Let's start with the book mail because that's more exciting. So if you recognize the blue box, this is Book of the Month. My Book of the Month book came in for this month, and this one sounds like a super fun one. And the cover, I just love this cover. Cartographers by Pang Shepard. This is about a girl whose father was a legend in cartography, but he's disappeared. And then so let me start again. Let's start again because my brain is so... Hey y'all, so I've got some book mail here from Book of the Month, and I've got a reading update for you all. So stay tuned because my brain is a little fuzzy today. I haven't been feeling well, but I'm still doing this for y'all, for the fans. So this month's Book of the Month pick is called Cartographers by Pang Shepard, and I just love that cover. It is just gorgeous. I love all those books. And so this book is kind of a mystery, I believe. It's about a young girl, a girl whose father was a legend in the cartography world, and then he disappears. He's then found dead in his office at the New York Public Library, and this girl, Nell Young, has to dig into the mystery and figure out what happened to her dad. And it just sounded so good. Perfect for fans of Joe Hill and V.E. Schwab, The Cartographers is an ode to an art and science, history and magic, spectacularly imaginative modern story about an ancient craft in places still undiscovered. It just drew me right in with its description. I can't wait to read it. Now I gotta find time to read this too. If any of you want to buddy read this with me, let me know, and we'll add it to the buddy read calendar at some point. I'm very excited to read this one. It sounds so good. And our our bookmark of the month from Book of the Month says, "No books, same laundry. I'm not folding." That just made me laugh. So now for the reading update. So today I worked from home because I wasn't feeling as well, but that gave me a chance to finish an audiobook that I've been working on that I started this weekend. That is the Secret Project #2 book, and I guess now by the time you see this it will be out, so now I can finally talk about it. So Secret Book #2 is The Magician's Nephew by C.S. Lewis, which is chronologically book 1 in the Chronicles of Narnia series. This was gifted to me by my boyfriend John. He gave me all of the audiobooks on CD to listen to. that were his own copies, so I'm very excited to get to that because I haven't read these in forever. So today I finished The Magician's Nephew, and I gave that 5 out of 5 stars. This book brought back nostalgia that I didn't even know I had for this series. I've only read this series like once or twice. I've seen the movies once or twice, so I didn't have that much nostalgia for it, I thought. But as I was reading this and we were meeting all of these characters and learning about Narnia and everything, I was like, holy cow, there's way more nostalgia here than I ever thought I'd have. So there's that. Trying to figure out if I want to start another audiobook now or continue with all of the books that I'm reading. Probably try to continue and finish off at least one more of those before I jump into yet another book because I've got way too many going right now. But that's my check-in for now, and I'll check in with y'all again soon. Hey y'all, so just checking in one last time for this week. I have a book haul, I've got a reading check-in, and let's just get to it. So, lovely boyfriend John again got me more books because he's amazing. Okay. So the first book that he got me, he's actually taking back because I already own it, because it happens to be one of my favorite books that I read in college, and that's Possession by A.S. Byatt. So yes, once it gets to this turn, I will be rereading this as part of the new series that just launched this week, Books My Boyfriend Gave Me. So eventually, when it gets around to it, I will be rereading Possession by A.S. Byatt. This is my copy from college, but since he did get it for me, I'm going to read it again. He also got me Ivanhoe by Sir Walter Scott, which is a classic that I've always wanted to read. Sir Walter Scott is from Scotland, and I don't know what it is about this book, but I've just always wanted to read it and just haven't gotten around to it. Medieval England, King Richard the Lion-Hearted, coming home from the Crusades, has been captured and imprisoned in Austria. His wicked brother John has seized the throne and refuses to pay Richard's ransom. Meanwhile, the conflict between Saxon and Norman threatens to turn into civil war. And for some reason, that just totally appeals to me, so I can't wait to read that. And he also got this book that I've never heard of, but now I'm very intrigued by it. Destiny of the Republic, A Tale of Madness, Medicine, and the Murder of a President. And this is by Candace Millard. And one of the things that he's told me he's looking for now on books is the national bestseller labels or the award-winning labels. So that's what intrigued him on this to get it for me, and I'm intrigued and I can't wait. This is about James Garfield's rise from poverty to the presidency. And I'm intrigued. Edgar Award winner for Best Fact Crime. So this sounds really intriguing, and I am very excited. Thank you so much, John. You are the best. I love you to pieces. Mwah. Now on to our reading check-in. Yes, sadly, as of right now, I'm still reading all of the same books, but I am nearing the end of The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter. I've been listening to the audiobook and doing an immersion read of this. I think I have like an hour, maybe a little bit more left in the audiobook. This is such an interesting book. Holy cow. Like, not only the characters, because they're, essentially the female versions of all these monsters and classic horror and fantasy books, but just the way it's written is fascinating, and the story is fascinating, and I'm in love with it. I absolutely love it. I think this will be a 5-star read for me. When I was about halfway through, it was feeling like a 4-star because it's a little bit slower text, but I'm just so fascinated. I think it's going to turn into a 5-star. So by the time you see this video, hopefully I will be done with that. I'm still making my way through First Rider's Call by Christian Britton, and this is, of course, book 2 in the Green Rider series. I am really interested to see where this story goes. and what happens with our girl, Kerrigan. It sounds like there's possibly 2 love interests being hinted at, so I'm interested to see where these go. I'm also still making my way through the Ember Blade, although I am getting very near the end considering how big this is. I think I'm about 70-75% of the way through this now. It feels like to me, and this might be sacrilege for people that absolutely love this book, but it feels to me like this book could have been 2 books. There's a certain moment in the book where it feels like it shifted completely. And so that feels weird. It feels unnecessarily long, but I'm also interested to see what happens. So I am also still reading Waking Ursa Minor, and things are getting really interesting now. So I'm hoping that my reading of that, the speed picks up as things kind of slow a little bit down at work. I was able to get a lot of reading in today, so hopefully I'll make good progress on that next week. And that's my reading check-in for this week. That's the wrap-up of everything. Let me know in the comments below what you read this past week, what you're looking forward to reading next week. As always, my Patreon and my Discord information will be in the description below. There's no pressure to join either, but we've got to have a ton of fun at both. Keep reading, and I love you all to the moon and back. Bye.